So today we're going to be looking at replacing the depower mainline on the North Navigator control system. To do this, you're going to need some fishing line, some cord, a set of Allen keys, some vice grips and your North Navigator repair kit. First up, unwind the lines from the bar. Next, disconnect the landing line ring and slide the stopper ball off the landing line. Using a 3mm Allen key, undo the fastener from the spinning handle, then wiggle to separate the top of the spinning handle from the bottom. Use a flathead screwdriver to pry them apart if needed. Remove the stainless steel bushing attached to the depower mainline using the bushing needle supplied within the repair kit. Remove the top of the spinning handle from the multi-bore tubing. Pull the landing line out of the top of the cleat base. Undo the set screw in the side of the cleat stopper ball using a 2.5mm Allen key until it slides freely. Pull the figure of 8 knot out from inside the trim handle. You may need to use some long nose pliers to do this. Next, undo the knot and slide the trim handle off. Then also remove the cleat stopper ball. Remove the elasticized trim line from the cleat. Take note of which direction the trim line feeds through the power bracket. This will ensure the power bracket is facing in the correct direction when you fasten your red line connectors to the red kite pigtails after this installation. Now for the other end of the depower main line, we find it easiest to first wind the multi-bore tubing in a loop. Pull the elasticized trim line to depower mainline joinery away from the top of the cleat base. Use vice grips to clamp the multi-bore tubing below the cleat base, as this takes some tension off the depower mainline inside. When you have sufficient access to the depower mainline joinery, undo the elasticized trim line loop-to-loop connection. It is good practice to use some cloth between the vice grips and the multi-bore tubing when clamping. Pull the cleat base and the cleat off the multi-bore tubing. Take the new multi-bore tubing and the new depower mainline and insert the cleat base back on. You may need to use a short length of nylon or fishing line knotted onto the end of the depower mainline in order to pull it through the cleat base. Use vice grips to clamp the multi-bore tubing below the cleat base, as this takes some tension off the depower mainline inside. Again, wind up the depower mainline multi-bore tubing, then tension the depower mainline and clamp the multi-bore tubing when you have retrieved a sufficient length of depower mainline that will then allow you to reinstate the loop-to-loop connection with the elasticized trim line. Thread the elasticized trim line up through the power bracket and cleat base, taking care to achieve the same orientation that was originally installed. Feed the cleat stopper ball and the trim handle back onto the elasticized trim line. Tie a figure of 8 knot in the end of the elasticized trim line and pull it tight. The end of the elasticized trim line with the grey mark cloth should sit up against the figure of 8 knot when tensioned. Pull the trim handle to hide the knot inside it. Now set the cleat stopper ball so there is a 2cm gap between the cleat stopper ball and the trim handle by tightening the set screw. Ensure the correct cleat stopper ball orientation is achieved in order to prevent damage from the cleat teeth. Thread the new multi-bore tubing and the depower main line through the centre of the bar. Feed the top spinning handle over the lower end of the tubing, ensuring the depower main line is aligned with the recess out of the top of the spinning handle. Using the bushing needle supplied within the control system repair kit, thread the stainless steel bushing back through the loop in the depower main line and into the inside of the spinning handle as shown. Feed the top spinning handle inside the bottom spinning handle and fasten the screw using a 3mm Allen key. Now re-thread the landing line through the new multi-bore tubing. You may want to use a minimum 1.5 metre length of nylon fishing line knotted onto the end of the landing line to help pull it through the tubing. Thread the stopper ball onto the landing line using a flattened length of nylon to pull the landing line through the stopper ball. Next, install the landing line ring and finish by locating the landing line ring into the recesses in the stopper ball.